Hey guys, Ace is here from NetPlayMarketing.com, and so wanted to continue on from where we left off, which was um, posting your first blog post. So what you're looking at right now is actually a live feed from my server now. The blog has actually uploaded now, and so if you were to go to retirewithaces.com/wp, somehow I ended up saving that as a URL. You will actually discover and find this page, the page that we just created, and just below it is the generic post that was already created when we signed in. So now I have two pages basically that are set up here. As you can see, there's under recent posts, there's like my first blog post ever and Hello World, which is the generic one. So this will keep on um, going on as if you want to keep it this way. So this is kind of like my home page right now for the blog, and so if you want to, you can have it continuously adding onto your blogs. So for every blog that you post, the most recent one will be the first thing that your person sees when they log onto your website, and then if they keep scrolling down, they'll have older ones that will continue to populate from previous blog posts that you've actually posted. So I know one of the things that I wanted to mention to you on the previous video, which we didn't get around to, which is how to actually customize this URL. So, for example, how can I change this URL so it's a little easier to remember and easy for you to post? So, this is actually my domain right now, retirewithaces.com/wp. That's the home page. So, if you actually go back to your dashboard, okay, back to your WordPress dashboard, where you logged into, and if you go under your settings, and permalinks, this little link here. If you click on that, a permalink essentially is what your URL is going to be generated. So right now, as you can see, default is selected. So default means that it's going to make up its own random code. Okay, so this, if you see, this looks similar to what the the blog post was showing us before, right? So retirewithaces.com/wp/p=5, I think is what the previous one was. But if you want to, you can actually change it to a post name. Okay, so a post name, and you have a different option. So you can have your pages just simply be the date and time, the month and the name, a numerical value, or you can customize it to something you want to. I like using post name because that way you can change the post name to whatever it is that you want it to be. So I'm gonna select that. I'm gonna save changes, and I'm going to show you what this means. So now that the permalink structure has been updated, if I go back to my posts, right, you'll see the two posts that we have: the Hello World, the generic one, which we showed, which is the one that was already created there, and we can delete that if we want to, or you can keep it there for the time being. And then to my first blog post ever. So if I have this here, now you can see what WordPress does is it tries to be it will generically, or as a default, what it will do is it'll take the title that you have on your blog post, so my first blog post ever in my case, and it'll use that as your permalink. So as you can see, you've got retirewithaces.com/wp/my first blog post ever. So that's pretty easy for me to remember, so I'll probably keep that. If you want to make that shorter, you can. So you can just click on edit and click on it and make your post whatever you want to. So if you want to make this a little more simple, you can simply just put retirewithaces.com/wp/first post or first blog. Right, and you go OK, and it will save that now. So if you take this now, this permalink here, you can copy that, and then you can post that on your Facebook or whatever social media you want to, and it makes it a lot easier for people to even just look at and remember versus like that random code, the WP=5 or whatever it was. And then you can just update here, and then you're good to go. That's all you need to do. Now, so now that we've talked about this, I want to show you a couple other things that you can do in terms of your settings. So if we go back to the page and see how it looks like, you can see that you have all these options here on the left side of things that you may want to post there, or things that maybe you don't want to put there. Right? You can change this column to any way you want to. If you want to change the name of my blog to whatever the name of your actual blog is, and some of these other little random things. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go back to the editor. Sorry, not the editor, to the home page. Go back to dashboard, appearance, and go back to themes. Okay, so once we do that, awesome. Right, we can go back to, this is the theme we have currently active, right? if you remember from the first video, 2015. So I'm going to click on Customize. And here we can change a few things. So that's definitely the theme. If you want to change some of the colors again, you can. Let me see here. Keep that red for the time being. The header image. Do we have an image for a header? Let me try here. Put this, select. Crop image. Perfect. So you can set even a background here if you want this to look a certain way, which is kind of cool and kind of nifty. So you can change the complete layout of how you want this to look like. I'm gonna click on Save and Publish for the time being. So we're gonna save that. Obviously, this color and this background is kind of hard to read. You want to make it look appealing and make it look good so that you can actually use it. I want to change some stuff here. Cool. Header image, background image. Background image would pertain to this image back here. Menus, that's what we're talking about. Menu locations. Perfect. Oh, I think I'm in the wrong menu here, guys. Sorry. Widgets. Okay, cool. So here you can change these little things here. These are called widgets. All right, so you can modify it so that you can have whatever you want people to be able to access quickly here on the left side. For example, if you want them to check out your archives, meaning like previous posts and things like that you posted, you can have that there, or you can take it off altogether. So I'm going to remove it because I don't want the archives there. See, there, now it's gone. Metadata. Metadata is stuff that you're not gonna use, guys. So I'm just gonna remove this altogether. I'm not gonna get into it. If you have questions in regards to RSS and stuff like that, feel free to post or comment. But I'm not gonna get into that right now in this post. Categories, you can. This is something I can show you in a sec. I'll show you in a second in terms of your post. But it's more so for organization. So for example, if on your blog you want to have a few different types of categories. So for example, let's say if this post in particular, or sorry, this blog in particular was going to be about gardening, which is what we've been talking about. Maybe you want to subcategorize your posts in terms of training videos, in terms of training things of how to plant certain plants, or watering methods could be another category. Another category could be something like choosing the right fertilizer. So if you want to categorize them into different groups, you can actually organize your blogs so they will just get dumped into that folder. And so that's what these categories are here. So people can click. So if people are interested in I want to find the perfect fertilizer for my specific plant that I have, then maybe they'll click on fertilizer category, and they'll be able to browse through your content all about fertilizer. Make sense? So you can subcategorize categories. Recent comments, you can have people's recent comments on there. If you don't have anything right now, then you can just remove it because you sort of want to have it. Recent posts is a good one to have because that way people can see the content that you're posting consistently. So I'm going to keep that there. Search, you can do that too. I'm going to remove it because search is not something that I think people are going to use, especially when they first get started. But this looks pretty good just like that. So I'm going to save that and publish. And that's looking pretty good to me so far. Okay. So, my blog, custom my blog. I want to see if I can change this here. Site identity. There you go. So under site identity, you can change here to whatever your blog's name is going to be. So let's say, in this case, as we're talking about gardening, so let's say gardening with aces. Tagline: a blog for your garden. Cool. So obviously that looks a lot more makes more sense with everything that was going on as opposed to just being a generic my blog title. So you can save that and publish. And now that we have all that saved and everything going good, if I were to reload this page, which is the active page, this was actually posted right now to the internet and to the public and to the world. If I were to reload this should ideally, there we go. update. So now, if you were to log on to retirewithaces.com/WP, this is what you're going to be able to see. My first blog post, which has to do with gardening, the hello world, which we can delete or whatever, that's fine. And people are going to see this as a title, so they're like, okay, I'm on the, now they're guided towards this is the right website. This is what I was looking for, right? And they'll be able to access the previous posts that I have and just the categories if I subcategorize it. So let's go back and let me show you that. So let's go back to posts, guys. And if you click on any one of these now, so we're going to go to my first blog post ever, since this is the only one I really have right now. And we scroll down here, see this category section? So this category section is where I can say you can categorize stuff. So right now it says uncategorized because I don't have any categories selected. But I'm going to click on add category, and now I can make a category to place in here. So I'm going to place the category of let's say training, garden training. Okay, so I'm going to add category. Awesome. So now I can uncheck the uncategorized, and you can have your blog pertain to more than one category if you believe it does. So as you can see, even my little title up here is changed now to gardening with aces, since that's what the site is called up here, which is pretty cool. And I can now have gardening training as one of the categories. So if I were to leave that as is, and we have obviously the URL already posted, and I click on update, now what should happen is if we go to the live website, and we click this, there you go. See the categories? There's now an uncategorized section and a garden training section. So if I were to click on garden training, what should load up is basically this blog here, because it's the only blog that I have placed into the gardening trading section. And if I click on uncategorized, since I unchecked this, now the only one that's there is this generic one, because that was the only one that was selected previously, right? And that's all that there is here. Pretty cool, huh? So that's basically how you can first off get your permalink working, so that way you can customize your own URL, so you can change it to whatever you want, whatever you fancy, and how to categorize your blogs, and how to edit the menus here on the left side of your theme, so that people can easily navigate through your website and be able to be directed to different content, and make it easier for them to get around and be able to immerse themselves in your website. So I hope that was handy to you. I hope that this little category has helped you out. So go out there, get your first blog post going. I'm going to show you a couple other things that you can tweak with your website, but let's get out there right now and just have some fun.